So we're talking with someone that's so talented. Everyone in her family is so smart. But we bring this up because we're talking about Brad Pitt. He did a recent interview with GQ. And of course, you know, he's one of the sexiest men alive. We've heard that for years and years and years. And, you know, he's obviously been with famously beautiful women.
But he reveals that he believes he has face blindness.
No, he doesn't have a medical diagnosis. But he said this years ago, and he says it again in the new issue.
Yeah. And so we looked this up. And it seems as if like 1 in 50 people have face blindness. That seems like a lot, because I don't know anybody who has it.
I think Jen Fred says she has one friend, so let's bring in a doctor to discuss this one right now.
Mandira Mehra. Hi, doctor.
Nice to be back, Mike and Karen.
Yeah,
so great to be here. Nice to see familiar faces. I have no face blindness.
What is your position? What did you study?
Neurology and interventional spine and pain.
So this is, you've heard of this is real.
This is my wheelhouse. We see this. So if you ask your internal med doc or your general practitioner, they may say, what's face blindness? Or I remember that from med school, but as a neurologist, this is my wheelhouse.
Okay.
Because I see strokes, I see post-surgical patients after tumors, I see traumatic brain injury. But as we were talking offline here, Mike said something very good, very interesting. Is this just an acquired thing, like strokes and tumors and surgery? The answer is no, it can be congenital, meaning you can be born with it. Now in Brad Pitt's case, we don't know of any significant brain trauma, we don't know of any you know, disease process that he has going on, so he may have congenital face blindness.
Well, how would you describe it? What is it?
Prosopagnosia. So try to say that 5 times fast. Yeah, it is really like, if I look at beautiful Karen's face here, or handsome Mike, I can actually tell you, okay, you've got high cheekbones, you've got greenish hazel eyes, full symmetric lips, and that's about it. But if I see you again walking down the street, despite having this intimate interaction, I would not recognize you. I would say, nice to meet you, that kind of thing. Now, the degree of how severe this can be varies significantly. So it can be just like minor, but it can be so severe that people don't recognize their own mother, their children. Some people don't actually recognize themselves. So they look in the mirror and they can say, yeah, I know I got those big floppy ears, that must be me. But they actually just see kind of the pieces. They see eyes, nose, mouth, but they can't put it together.
How disconcerting.
I know, we had an image of, I think, a compilation of a number of different people, and I can't even tell if they're all the same people with just different hairstyles or that are similar. Like, what do we look at with something like this? People, like, maybe they have similar traits or similar complexions, and it's just hard to make differentiations between who these people are?
Yeah, and we do formal face testing where, you know, we try to eliminate a lot of the hair or, you know, external components and just focusing on the face. You would think, I could recognize my mom, my sister, my loved ones, my friends, my family, but people actually can't. And so Brad Pitt says, you know what? People will walk up to me and they think that I'm totally conceited or they think that I'm stuck up because I don't recognize them. And I know that I should recognize them. So he admits this, and this is true for my patients too, Mike and Karen. They'll say it helps when people give them cues. Like, oh, remember that time we met at the July 4th parade? Or, hey, remember when I saw you on set X, Y, and Z time? So how do people live with this? How do my patients live with this? How does Brad Pitt live with this? One of 2 ways. One, people get really isolated. They get anxious. They don't want to be socially around people because they don't want to offend people. The second way is they just work off cues. They'll remember people's hairstyle or a mustache or a mole. But God forbid, if you change one of those things, it really takes people for a throw.
You can go with voice.
You could go with voice. You can go with the way people kind of move, their body shape. But
well, hold on a second. Let's say I'm married to Karen. I've seen her every day for 15 years. I would know you, wouldn't I?
And to that end, like, if I see my husband's a big runner, I can't not read his facial features, but I can tell who he is running like hundreds and hundreds of feet away. Like, I know who my kids by the way that they move their bodies.
Exactly.
There's some of that you can read.
Yeah, and patients or people with this condition can still read those things. Their visual acuity is intact. They're not colorblind. Cognitively, they can be brilliant. They can be actors, doctors, all functioning human beings.
There's supposedly some website you can go to kind of test this, but I think you would know pretty quickly in your life if you had it.
One last question before you go. I'm really bad at names. I'm making a better effort in my life, but I can tell you everything about your backstory. I can tell you like your mom, and she's in Harrisburg, and I remember the stories, but I don't always remember names. That's not the same thing, right?
That's different. That's different. That's going to be a little memory thing that happens to us. Now, as far as you guys go, you're in media, you meet a ton of people. Now, if you meet someone 10 years later and you can't quite place them, that's not the same thing. This is people that should be really recognizable. Now, If you've had a stroke, you've had a tumor, you've had
Right,
some
it's
traumatic brain
understandable.
injury, we know the part of the brain that's damaged.
Yeah.
In Brad Pitt's case, or congenital issues, it's kind of like color blindness. People don't know they really have it till they hear about it. And they're like, oh, I thought everyone had that difficulty.
Good to see you, doctor.
Nice to see
Thank
you,
you.
Mike and Karen. Thank you.
Wow.